I know you've told it many times before, but we have a lot of young students on here. As far as the backbeat situation and story, would you mind giving us a quick scenario of the raising the arm when you play the backbeat?
Me?
Yes, in your interpretation.
I never knew I did it. He's the one who sat behind me when Bobby took us and said that I did it. I never, then I saw it on later, actually.
Let me answer that then for Charlie, okay? Because I've done this so many times. Here's what happened, as far as I know. I was hanging out with Levon Helm of the band. Those guys were recording at Sammy Davis Jr.'s home in the Hollywood Hills and I never can remember the albums, but it was the album that had The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so anyway, we were hanging out, and I watched him play, and he would play the backbeat down like this, and he'd raise the off the hi-hat at the same, so it would be right, and so which is what Charlie does, and so I watched that so often, and I was so influenced by Levon at that time, because that was right at the time when I was playing way too busy, and I was real infatuated with, like, because my hands were getting good, and I was, overusing it in records. I could hear it, and I knew it was wrong. It wasn't what Hal did. It wasn't what Ringo did, you did. It certainly wasn't what Levon did. So I wanted to be more like that. So I started doing that and that's my point earlier about osmosis. When you see somebody doing something that affects you, you can't really help it but copy it, sort of, in a way, when people talk about copying, I mean, it's inevitable. Yeah. You're going to copy stuff, period. Sure. And so anyway, so I started doing that, and then Charlie you told me years later, not that many years later, you told me you were watching the Bangladesh movie, and you saw me doing it. Yeah. And again, that same kind of thing. You started doing it. Yeah. And then Steve Jordan saw you doing it, and Steve started doing it. So Steve does that. So, and then after that, who knows how many people. I've seen a lot of guys on TV do it, a lot of young guys playing it,
Oh, really?
It's just, it's kind of...
I was never conscious I did it, though. I think the reason I did it was to get the hand out of the way to do a bigger
that's the way Levon. That's the reason Levon did it.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if there was a secondary effect in miking everything, because you're not hearing the hi-hat at the same time you're playing the rim shot.
Well, what it does is Bill Bruford did an interview one time, and he was talking about chords, drum chords. He said one of his favorite chords was bass drum and a hi-hat and a snare drum together. Mm. That's one chord, and it's a nice little drum triad, you could say. Mm. So if you take away the hi-hat with the backbeat, in a way, it's kind of clean for the engineer. I remember when I was doing it, when I first started doing it in the studio, engineers would comment, "Wow, it's nice because you only have the backbeat there. You don't have the hi-hat with it." And so for years, I thought that was the way I like to do it. Now, after that, I realized, no, I don't want to be tied just to that. Mm. So now I do that. I don't do it. I do, I like to mix it up now. I can't stand doing one thing anymore, same way all the time.